The maternity ward at Divine Grace Hospital, Abuja, smelled of antiseptic and newborn innocence. Soft cries of babies filled the air, a comforting lullaby for exhausted mothers. But for Nurse Rebecca Ogwatch, these cries meant something else, an opportunity. She moved swiftly, her white uniform spotless, her smile reassuring. No one suspected her. Why would they? She was a respected nurse, always gentle with the babies, always the first to assist new mothers. But behind that warm exterior was a dark, greedy heart. Rebecca had a secret side hustle, stealing newborns' placentas and selling them to a powerful ritualist in the city. She had done it many times. The placenta, a sacred part of childbirth, was believed to hold mystical powers. In the wrong hands, it could be used for wealth rituals, destiny manipulation, and even spiritual bondage. And Abuja's elite were willing to pay millions for it. Rebecca's buyer was Chief Boko, a well-known politician who lived in a grand mansion in Maitama. To the public, he was a generous philanthropist. But in the underworld, he was feared. One night, she sat across from him in his luxurious living room, a small black nylon bag on the table between them. "This one is fresh," she whispered. Chief Boko's face split into a grin as he handed her a thick envelope of cash. "You do good work, Nurse Rebecca," he said. "With this, my wealth will never dry up." Rebecca shuddered but said nothing. She didn't care how he used it, as long as she got her money. But she didn't know that the spirits were watching. Rebecca had stolen over 30 placentas. She had no idea how many lives she had ruined. But she was about to find out. One evening, a desperate woman, Mrs. Amina Yusuf, rushed into the hospital. "My son is dying," she cried, clutching her weak, feverish baby. The doctors ran tests, but nothing was medically wrong. "He was fine before," Amina sobbed. "But after birth, he kept getting sick. It's like something is draining him." Rebecca's stomach tightened. She remembered this baby, his placenta had been one of the easiest to steal. Amina's eyes, filled with tears, locked onto Rebecca's. "Nurse, please, help me. You were there when he was born." Rebecca forced a smile. "We'll do our best." But inside, fear clawed at her throat. Could it be that the stolen placentas were fighting back? Rebecca couldn't shake the feeling of dread that crept into her heart after seeing Amina's sick baby. It wasn't the first time she had heard of a newborn mysteriously falling ill after birth. She had dismissed those cases before. But this time felt different. She sat in the hospital's supply room, scrolling through her phone, trying to distract herself. But the screen blurred. Her mind replayed Amina's desperate face, the lifeless baby in her arms. Then she heard it. A whisper. Soft, chilling. "Give it back." Rebecca froze. The room was empty. She turned sharply, heart pounding. Nothing. Her breath quickened. Maybe she was just tired. Or maybe. No. It was impossible. She shook the thought away and walked to the maternity ward. But as she reached the hallway, she saw something that made her blood run cold. Amina was standing there, her baby wrapped in a white cloth. But the baby's eyes, they were wide open, staring at Rebecca, unblinking. The spirits were watching her. That night, Rebecca sat in her lavish Joby Lake apartment, flipping through a bundle of fresh cash from Chief Boko. She had everything she wanted: money, designer clothes, and luxury trips. But tonight, none of it felt right. As she counted the money, she heard a knock. She frowned. It was late. She walked to the door and peered through the peephole. No one was there. Her stomach tightened. Then, another knock. This time, louder. A chill ran down her spine. She hesitated, then slowly unlocked the door and opened it just a crack. Her heart stopped. On the ground, wrapped in a bloodied hospital sheet, was a fresh placenta. She staggered back, slamming the door shut. Her body shook. Who put it there? She checked the locks. She checked the windows. Nothing. But as she turned back toward her bedroom, a dark figure stood in the hallway. A shadowy silhouette, with red, glowing eyes. The lights flickered. A deep, guttural voice filled the room. You have stolen from the innocent. Now, the debt must be paid. Rebecca opened her mouth to scream. But the lights went out. Rebecca's scream died in her throat as the dark figure stepped forward. Her body refused to move, her legs frozen to the ground. The air in the room turned thick and heavy, pressing against her chest. The shadowy figure towered over her, its glowing red eyes drilling into her soul. Then, in a deep, echoing voice, it spoke. You have stolen the lifeblood of the innocent. Now, you will pay in blood. A sudden gust of wind rushed through the room even though the windows were shut. The furniture rattled violently. The curtains flapped like angry spirits wailing in the night. Then, a new sound filled the air, the cries of newborn babies. Rebecca clamped her hands over her ears. The cries grew louder, piercing her skull. She fell to her knees, shaking, sobbing. Please. Please, I'll stop. Just let me go, she begged. But the voices did not stop. Return what you have stolen. Rebecca gasped for air. I don't have them. I sold them. The shadow lunged forward. Pain exploded in her chest. A burning sensation spread through her veins. She clutched her heart, feeling something crawl beneath her skin, something alive. Then, blackout. Rebecca woke up on the cold hospital floor. A crowd had gathered around her. Nurses. Doctors. The police. Her hands were covered in blood. Confused, she tried to sit up. But the moment she looked down, she screamed. In front of her, on the floor, lay several stolen placentas, still wrapped in bloodied hospital sheets. The evidence she had hidden for so long had somehow appeared. Gasps filled the air. Dr. Mochuku, the hospital director, stared at her in horror. Nurse Rebecca, what have you done? Rebecca's mouth opened, but no words came out. Her nightmare had become reality. She had been caught. The police officer stepped forward, his voice cold. You are under arrest for the theft of human body parts and involvement in ritual practices. Rebecca shook her head violently. No. No, it wasn't me. Someone, something, put them there. But no one believed her. As the officers dragged her away, her eyes landed on Amina. The grieving mother stared at her with a look of both hatred and sorrow. Rebecca knew. This was justice. Rebecca was sentenced to life in prison. Chief Boko was later found dead in his mansion, his body mysteriously shriveled and decayed overnight. And the babies whose destinies had been stolen, many never recovered. Some grew up sickly. Some lived with strange misfortunes. Some never survived. Because when a placenta is stolen, it is not just flesh that is taken. It is a life. And no one escapes the death of blood.